Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. We hope you have enjoyed your day and moved a little bit closer to achieving some of your goals. Today we have coming to the mic, Sonserria Coates. Sonserria Coates is a full-time healthcare professional, CPR, first aid instructor, and a full-time 9-year entrepreneur. She is a trainer on health and in finances and an advocate organizer of Daddyless Girls, where she mentors young women who have grown up without their fathers. Sonserria is the organizer and founder of Queens of Purpose and Women of Empowerment, two organizations geared toward the growth and empowerment of women. Welcome, Ms. Coates. Sonserria.
Welcome. We are so happy that you're here. And of course, I want to know how you arrived to all of what you do.
Oh, wow. It's a lot, especially being a mom of 8 children. I'm just excited, first of all, for this opportunity. Thank you for even allowing me to be here today. I'm so excited and so grateful for any opportunity that God gives me to share a piece of me to the world. So I'm just thankful for that. I recently just was a co-author in an anthology called UnMute Yourself. So I'm totally excited about that because I was in a situation in my marriage where I knew it was time that I had to write about what was going on. And I knew writing was going to be my therapy through the situation. So I grabbed a hold to Miss Simone, and I've worked with her before, and it's just been an amazing opportunity and experience. When I found out what she was doing, I was like, yeah, I got to be a part of this right here. So I reached out and I was like right on time. I said, well, how much time do I have to do this? She's like, you got about 3 weeks to write. And I said, oh my. So, but it got done and it was like right on time. So I was excited about that.
Wow. Well, you're the second author from that book. So I know it's going to be so far from what I've heard, it's definitely women pouring out and, really, really sharing their light with the world. So tell us a little bit about your part in the book.
So my chapter is called Marrying for Perfectional Purpose. And I really took everyone on a journey from the beginning of my marriage up until the point where I am now without really sharing, but more so telling my experience from a point of what I had to do to make the situation better or what I could have done to make the situation better.
Okay. And that's really honorable in itself because a lot of times in a marriage, it's a lot of finger pointing in many, many cases. And we all know everything, it's 2 people. So every person is involved, both people are involved, and both people play a part.
Absolutely.
So yes. Well, we can't wait to get a hold of that book. Actually, she sent it to us, so I can't wait to read it at this point. And so I'm sure it's going to be something that all of the women in the book probably has every woman's piece, life in there, because
definitely.
As women, we go through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yes, we do when it comes to relationships. And so just to reiterate what Ida just said, it will be interesting to read it because sometimes when we hear somebody else's story, we hear part of our own. And sometimes it's part of our story that we have disowned and lived in denial with. And therefore, it's very healing to hear it come out from somebody else's mouth. And then we can say, oh, me too. We can raise our hands on it.
Yeah.
Which is very freeing in itself.
Yeah.
Now, how do you manage this with 8 children? all that you've done? How do you manage that? 8 children.
I'm a great multitasker. I have learned over the years that I have to be able to keep things in order and do more than one thing at a time. There is no way I will be able to manage all of this. I have older siblings, older children that are siblings of the younger ones that can help me out from time to time. But I chose my professional careers in healthcare, as you all stated, but I work overnight. So by me being able to work overnight, I chose that path so I could be able to be home to still be a mom and not let work take me away from home. So I've been able to manage that, coming home, not really getting rest in the morning, but it's okay because mommy duties come first, I always say. So I'm a mother first. And once mommy duties are done, then I can get my rest. So.
I could relate. I worked night shift when my baby was born, and I'm telling you, we went to Chuck E. Cheese pretty much every day. Matter of fact, he's 24 years old. Well, I found some Chuck E. Cheese chips.
Yeah, my little one is asking.
Yeah, you have to tire them out. I had to tire him out so that I could get some sleep. It was rough, but that's what you do as a mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your organizations.
So Daddyless Girl is actually something that I started a few years ago. And it actually started with me writing. But I myself grew up without my father in the home. And I saw how it made me go through so many different transitions in my life growing up in a single family home. I saw, the bitterness from my mom. I saw the difference in how I was raised versus how my sister was raised. I saw the difference in how my my stepsisters and brothers were raised versus me and my sister, my biological sister. So, looking at it from every aspect, I knew it was so many other girls out there like me that have suffered, from being with just your mom, always wanting to know what it feels like to have dad around. Because my dad was actually there the first part of my life. My dad left when I was 10 years old. So I actually had him there, that whole foundation. And then, there was that situation where he was with someone else and he left the home. And when he left, it kind of tore me up in a sense, because I was right there getting ready to go into being a teenager. And, I saw the hurt in my mom, and it kind of made me angry and made me a very angry and defiant teenager. I went out looking for love in all the wrong places, ended up in a lot of relationships that I shouldn't have been in. It transitioned into my first marriage and how I got involved in that relationship because I wanted to be loved so bad, and it's like I just grabbed a hold to anything that I felt or thought was love. And I even saw it transition into how I raised my sons and how I dealt with my sons as well, because I was just so hard on them because I was determined they won't be my father, So I thought about what could I do, to help mentor other women so they don't have to get into wrong relationships and they don't have to raise their sons wrong and they don't have to, feel like they're missing something or, not really having a father, because we all know, Jesus is our father and he's always there. And that's something I had to come to grips with. And when I came to grips with that, my whole entire life changed. And it feels like I just elevated from there. I had so much peace. I was able to walk different and talk different. I was able to deal with my children different, and like everything in life just started picking up, and once I actually learned the power of forgiveness, because for a long time, I didn't even want to talk to my dad. I didn't want to see him, and it's crazy how I saw him for the first time after years. And it was at my son's funeral. Mm-hmm. Someone had told him about it. I actually lost a son 11 years. Well, he was 11 years old, but I lost him 8 years ago to cancer. And it was a very unexpected death because he was a perfectly healthy child all the way up until age 10. And then this sickness comes and we all have to deal with it. And then, he passes away a year and a half later, and then walks my father at the funeral. And it's like, where have you been all this time? Like, I was really like, how did you even know? So it was kind of scary and weird all at the same time. I was excited to see him, but not like this, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that took a toll on him. And about a few months later, he actually called me and apologized. And I just kind of cried on the phone. And I was like, you know, I've been waiting almost 40 years for that apology, you know, that I never knew I would get. And I think after that, it was just like, you know, if he doesn't change, I'm still better. You know, if he doesn't decide to be in my life or my children's life, I'm still better. Thank you for the apology. I forgive you. And then I can just, you know, freely move forward with my life.
Yeah, that's so interesting because we hear so much about the mother influence and people having mother issues that very rarely do you hear people talk about the daddy issues. And that's a huge factor, especially for a girl. I know it is for a boy too, but most people don't even think about how important the father is in a girl's life. Absolutely. Because he really is the wall. He is your protection. He's the one who kind of like sets the scene for who you are going to be as a woman, you know, what your expectations are from a man. And when he's absent, it's a big hole. Yes. And I really admire you for having seen that and been willing to step out and offer help in that area. Because there are many, 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 many women, I don't even want to think about the thousands of women who have ruined their lives almost because they didn't have a good father image in their life. And no one to protect them.
And then the other part to that, sometimes the father is there, but still you're not getting what you need.
Right.
So do you address those issues with your girls as well?
I absolutely do, because I'm recently going now through a separation, and that's what kind of inspired me towards the Unmute Yourself anthology and to write about marrying perfection or purpose. And this is my second marriage. And like you just stated, even having a father in the home, if that father is toxic or, you know, not, you know, promoting values and morals and instilling those values and morals into the children, then it's just as bad as someone not being there, or worse, because now they're actually seeing a bad example. And now they're pretty much like, well, my dad was there, but he still did this and he still did that, you know. And then you have to try to like make excuses, not really excuses, but kind of justify the behavior or explain the behavior. Whereas if he's not there, you don't really have to explain behaviors. Mm-hmm. You can just say, well, he's just not here. So, you know, that's all I can say. But when he's actually in the home and certain things transpire and your daughters are watching, and that's part of the reason why, you know, I'm actually in the situation, because I just was determined that my daughters aren't going to see this. My sons aren't going to see this. I'd rather them see me, you know, single and waiting and happy and waiting for the right person versus being in a toxic environment again, because it only makes things 10 times worse and ruins them even more. You know, I didn't have my father, but, you know, they had a stepfather. But at the same time, you know, I feel like, you know, I was kind of better off with him not being there versus looking at my children and hearing them say, you know, mommy, why this, or mommy, why that? And then I have to, like I said, explain certain behaviors, you know, that they're seeing, and then they picking up certain things that they shouldn't see. And then I have to worry about, you know, my teenage sons and how are they going to go out here and treat women after seeing this, you know, versus not saying anything or getting them a mentor that can show them the right way. They're seeing the wrong way. And then I have to worry about them copycat, you know, those things instead of just nothing. So, yeah.
Children will pick up on bad habits. Learn bad habits much faster than they can learn good habits.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. And I want to admire you for recognizing, because you have 8 children. And there's many women out there that would never leave for that very reason. Mm-hmm. Because they would be fearful of trying to raise 8 kids by themselves. What do you want to say to them?
You don't have to be afraid. Everything will work out. You just have to believe and have faith that God is going to take care of you. You have to trust and know that if you seek him, he will be there. He will be a father for you if you're missing a father, and he'll be a father for the children. And he's a better father than any father. So, when we have the father of fathers, then, nobody else can top that. So, just to know that you have someone that really has your back, someone that really loves you, someone that really looks at you like the apple of your eye. I can go and tell my, people now, I was able to do it. And if I can do it, you can do it. And I'm doing this working full time. So when people come to me and say, well, I have a job and I got to work, I'm like, me too. And they say, well, I have a business, I got to work on that. I'm like, me too. And they say, well, I'm trying to do this and that. I'm like, me too. So it's really not no excuse they can really give me, because I've done it all. I've done it all separate and single, and I've done it married. So I kind of can relate to women on both sides of the fence. From the married side, because me and my husband, we did business together with the 8 children, and we both worked full time. And I've done it by myself with the 8 children, and still running a business, and still able to be a co-author, and still able to help other people, along the way. So I'm just excited, and I'm teaching my daughters to go out, and share their stories, because teenagers don't really like to talk about what they've been through, because they don't want people to know that they're going through anything. But I always tell them the things that you go through are never for you. They're always to help somebody else. And the more you share your story, the more you'll find people that will gravitate to you, because they either are in the same situation and they can get knowledge and, advice from you on what you did to help them get to the next level, or you'll just inspire them to even feel like they can do it. Sometimes, I've had mothers come to me and say, I don't know how you do it, and I only have 2 kids. And I'm like, I remember when I had 2 kids. If I had 2 kids, I'd probably be in another state on a vacation somewhere. But, I'm like, trust me, if I can do it with 8, and when I say all different personalities, and I have a grandson. So, I'm doing it with 8 and a grandson. I know you can do it with 2. What do you need? Because I can tell you exactly what to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I can't, I'm just applauding you, because I had 1, and I'm telling you, it was challenging in the beginning, running the business, working with 1. And you have 8 and you managed it. So you're right. There is no excuse.
It's definitely doable. And I always tell people, they're like, how do you manage? I'm like, you know what? I give all of my children something to do, because I notice when they don't have anything to do, that's when the house is chaotic and everybody's all over the place and I can't really function. And I'm like, okay, you have to do this. So I have to give everybody jobs and positions. Just like at work, everybody has a job and position. In the house, I tell the kids, everybody has a job and position in here, because I'm one person. I'm not the maid, I'm the mom. We all are in this together. So if something doesn't get done, we're not going to say, oh, he didn't do it or she didn't do it, because if everybody plays their role, everything gets done. Mommy's happy, everybody's happy. Then we can go have fun. But if mommy's not happy, nobody's doing anything. So it works.
It sounds like you could even do a seminar on how to organize your home to get people to make it work. Because that's something, that's awesome that everybody has work to do. That's a lovely concept.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that. People nowadays just don't do that. I mean, these kids don't have, you talk to them about, and ask them, what do you do? Do you have any chores? And they look at you like you've grown 2 heads. It's like, yeah, do you have any chores? Because children always grew up, well, I grew up with chores.
I did too.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you mean you don't have chores? And that's what helps keep the house organized for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You need to do a seminar on that.
Oldest. Yeah. I was the oldest in my house. So kind of what I said went, but it was so much on me as a child, because like when my father left, it was me and my sister. My sister is 6 years younger than me, and she has spina bifida. So she's in a wheelchair. She's paralyzed from the waist down. So I had to learn very early how to catheterize her, how to administer medicine, how to do physical therapy, and, how to lift her wheelchair, how to break it down, how to put it back together. I was doing that stuff at 10 and 11 years old. So I learned very early mother things. You know, I was washing clothes, I was cooking. I learned how to organize the house and make sure to help my sister with her homework and then do my homework. So I didn't really have, and that's part of where my anger came from too, because I didn't really have that teenage life that I really wanted and saw my friends have, because I was always having to babysit my sister because my mother had to work double when my father left. So it kind of left a lot of responsibilities on me that I didn't want to put on my children. And then, as though it's so many of them, I was like, you know, a lot of people say, well, these two are the oldest, so they should be doing. I'm like, no, everybody in here messes up, everybody can clean up. And, you know, I remember being the oldest and having to do it all. So I was like, I would never tell my oldest two, oh, y'all responsible for all of this, you know? So I know that feeling. So even my son's teacher had called me one time and was like, you know, I just need to know, you know, how to deal with him. What do you suggest that I do? You know, because he's a little antsy and he finishes his work so fast. And she's like, okay, now what? I said, you know what? You have to give him something to do. Give him a job in the classroom and you won't have any problems. And she did that. She made him pass out the papers. She made him help grade the papers. She made him pass out the homework. When it was time to line up, he started the line. You know, he led the people to the restroom. He let her know who was talking and who wasn't talking. So he felt like he had something to do. She didn't have any more issues out of him. She was like, thank you so much. She was like, it's so many more kids. I got to assign jobs in this classroom. And it was just crazy. I said, they have to have something to do. Kids, when they don't have anything to do, they just act up.
Yes, that's true.
They just act
all that
up.
energy just goes everywhere.
Yeah, you know, they have to get that vitamin D and go outside. So sometimes they're like, can we go outside? I'm like, yeah, y'all doing a lot right here. Go ahead outside for about an hour and then come back and let's try this again. But, you know, they need outlets just like us as adults. You know, even myself, sometimes I'm like, I got to go somewhere. Like, I need an adult night. Like, I need to be around adults tonight, you know, and kids are the same way. Like, they need to be around their friends and they need an outlet as well. So, you know, I had to deal with them to know that just like I have needs of things, so do they, you know. So when I learned each of them and how to deal with each of them, I learned how to deal with them all differently because I can't deal with all of them the same.
Yes.
So they're not the same. And that's the biggest mistake a lot of people make when they have a lot of children. They try to deal with them all the same and you can't because they're not.
You surely can't. Each child has their own personality.
Yeah.
Everything is different. One likes oatmeal, the other one doesn't.
Yeah, that's simple.
Yeah,
simple. And that difficult, I guess, for parents to be able to differentiate between their different children and recognize the personalities and work with each one. It cannot be easy.
No, it cannot. And I like I said, I take my hat off to you. You are definitely a superwoman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't always this way.
So great. So how can people get the book? How can people become a part of your organization? Tell us how, let our audience know how they can connect.
So they can actually send me an email at daddylessgirl@gmail.com. That's daddylessgirl@gmail.com. And also to find me, I'm on Facebook at Sonserria Coates. I'm on Instagram at Living for Purpose. That's LIVN 4 PURPOSE. And to get the book, you can actually Cash App Nyeezy. That's capital NYEEZY for the book. And it's $10 for the ebook. And the hard copies, I can't wait, will be coming out in a few weeks. And I'm actually going to have a book signing. So I'll be putting that information on my Facebook page as well as my Instagram page.
Oh, okay. We'll definitely share that out.
Thank you.
Well, for sure.
You're the founder of Queens of Purpose and Women of Empowerment?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, Queens of Purpose first is actually an organization I started a few years ago when I was in another business. It was also a health and wellness company. And I just kind of started that because a lot of women were coming to me in reference to health and, how to become more healthy and things like that after me losing my son. And a lot of people had heard my story. And a lot of people were coming to me for different situations like marriage situations and, single situations and how to help with kids situations. So I just formed that group, Queens of Purpose, to let everybody know that you are a queen and you do have a purpose. I wanted everybody to know that they're not here to just go to work and go home and take care of their kids and die, you know? And it's so many women that feel like they can't do anything outside of that. And I'm like, no, you're a queen. And if you're a queen, you can do so much. Like there's so many possibilities. Queens, they reign, and you have to reign over something. So what are you going to reign over? And first you have to start by reigning over your mind. You have to reign over your heart and how you feel. And, you know, the mindset is so trickery, you know, these days. You have to make sure that you're concentrating and have a stable mind to be able to lead other people. And if you're in business, you have to be able to lead other people. And you shouldn't even be trying to build a team if you can't even lead yourself. So you first have to, you know, get some foundation and learn how to lead yourself and understand who you are. You know, we're all royalty. We're all royal priesthood, right? And we all have those privileges that our Father has passed down to us. So we have to walk in that. So I always, when I talk to women, I'm always like, hey, queen, hey, queen. You know, I never say, hey, what's going on or something. You know, I'm always like, hey, queen. Even on my Facebook, people are like, you always call everybody queen. I'm like, I'm so used to it because I want women to feel like they're royalty. You know, I mean, so many women are just stuck in so much mess and so much drama, and they just feel like there's no way out of it. You know, but I always say, once you remember and know whose you are, that will help you know how to navigate through life. But you can't navigate through anything in life unless you first know who's and who you are. So it starts there. And know that you're a queen of purpose. Like, you have a purpose here. And you have to find out what that is.
So, like you said, a lot of women don't know their purpose. And at some point they did. And then stuff happens.
Yes.
You know, life happens. And they got focused on the things of life that happen, as opposed to dealing with the things that happen and then get back on the purpose road. So when you are able to do that, because life is always going to come at you from the left. That's going to be an occurrence that you can expect till the day you leave this earth.
Absolutely.
But how do you go through these things and then get back on the road of purpose? So when you're dealing with the women, how do you get them through to understand that concept?
I always tell them to look at their Bible and find out which woman are they mostly like, you know. And I had to do this for myself because I actually took a ministry class at my church called the Queen Esther ministry class. It was an 18-month class, and we kind of navigated through the women of the Bible just to kind of learn who we most relate to, right? So I found out that I'm most related to Naomi, one, because I suffered, you know, a loss. I suffered that terrible loss. And then I found out that I also related to Leah, you know. So once you find out who you relate to, then you kind of better understand who you are, right? So though the women in the Bible are so powerful, and all of them have such an amazing story. And I look at women today, and we are such the same. The same like the women then. It's just about finding out which one you are. And when we navigated through that, you know, and I learned so much in that 18 months. And, you know, I even had my daughters like, you know, read these women of the Bible and go through this book and find out who you can relate to the most, you know. And like I said, it just goes back to once you know whose you are, and it'll help you better to navigate. Because if you don't know where you came from, you won't know where you're going. And I tell people, you know, like you said, some people already knew their purpose, but then life happened and they got away from it. And I was one of those people. I knew what I wanted to do, but then, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do wasn't what God wanted me to do. And just these past 3 months, even in writing, I've recently just found out my purpose. And it's something that I knew a long time ago that was going to come, but I never thought I was ready for it. And a couple of weeks ago, God spoke to me and told me that I have to preach. And I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. And then, you know, I had a conversation with someone, well, I have to start a Bible study in my house with my children. And I knew that was coming. But because of the situations that we're in, we always feel like we can't. Mm-hmm. We look at our circumstances and we feel like we can't accomplish what we were set here to accomplish because of what we're in right now. Mm-hmm. And that's just a mindset as well, because when you feel stuck and you feel like you can't move, and you got one foot in the quicksand and one foot out, you're trying to figure out, only thing you're thinking about is how I'm going to get out the quicksand, right? Right. But when you remember who owns the quicksand and who made the quicksand, that's how you're going to get out of it. Yes. You know, so, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it has been a blast. Again, how can people get in touch with you?
Via Facebook. My name is Sonserria Coates on Facebook, and on Instagram, I'm Living for Purpose, LIVN, 4 Purpose on Instagram.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Coach. Yeah. You have been a burst of energy, of course, and I love your spirit, and God has definitely anointed you to lead. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
So we truly appreciate, and you will be back, because I think that women need to hear your voice more than one time.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level.
Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.